There are currently 3 different types of dumb phones. One of them is going to be the classic flip phone, go back in time. The other one is going to be a much more expensive option, the light phone 2. And finally, the third option is going to be an older smartphone. So which one of these 3 different devices should you buy if you are looking to curb your smartphone usage and go back to a time that was a little bit simpler, when you could smell the grass, you could hear the birds tweet, you could hear the water rush? So I've used all 3 of these phones for different periods of time, long enough for me to have a firm opinion on all of them. I'm going to start with the flip phone. The flip phone is the most fun phone to have because it's a flip phone and you get to do this a lot. And for somebody like me, I like that tactile feel. That's amazing. And for me, this phone, for a lot of people, is going to check the box. It'll do what most people want. If you aren't a big group text messenger, this is a great phone for you. This is an Alcatel 4044C. I'm sure there are a million different types of flip phones. This one specifically does not do group messages very well at all. So if you are somebody like me who uses group messages to basically, that's how I live my life, through communication on text message, I would suggest not getting this phone. I also had a few problems with getting voicemails with this phone. Some of the reliability with that was different. I think it was maybe more my fault because I was so not used to having to call my number and then type in my PIN and then retrieve voicemails. On a modern iPhone, at least for the last, 10 years or so, the voicemails just show up in an app and you just click it and listen to it, and that's just how it's done. So I would suggest this phone if you're somebody who, if you want to go to the extreme of the extreme, I think this is a great option. You can't basically do anything on this phone. You could do even less on this phone than you can on the light phone 2. So I think this is a really interesting option. Personally, it's not the one that I prefer. It's the one that I would probably choose last because I think there are better options, especially for me and what I want out of a phone. But if you're somebody that is really just trying to quit cold turkey and you like, I just want to cut it off. If you want to talk to me, you have to call me. If you're one of those people, this is a great option. The next option is the light phone 2. Any link down below will be an affiliate link because I'm a scumbag. And if you want to help support the channel, because we don't take sponsorships because we're just constantly telling people not to buy stuff, except for, I guess, these phones, potentially telling you to buy them, then you could use those links down below. Sorry for the shameless plug. I hate doing that. Next is the light phone 2. This is a phone that is exceedingly expensive for what it is. The last video I posted talked about this phone, and I think this phone is a very, very good blend of being able to send group text messages, being able to sort of exist within a modern world. You can get directions on this phone. You can have music on this phone. You can have podcasts on this phone. You can do most of the things you'd want to do, but the screen is completely ugly. It's one of the worst screens you'll ever use. It's an e-ink screen, so the refresh rate is like 1 hertz. I mean, it literally refreshes once every 2 or 3 seconds, so it's really bad. It's a really bad refresh rate, but it's intentionally bad, so it's supposed to be bad. This is basically the best dumb phone. I really think this is the best dumb phone. And I'm not just saying that because I spent $300 on it. I'm trying to convince myself of that. I really think that of all the dumb phones I've used, this is the best one. It's not the best one for me. I am a big fan of taking pictures. I take videos and photos of my family literally every single day. So I need to have a camera on me at all those little moments. And you can't just always have a big DSLR on you because there's little moments where your baby starts walking and they're doing something really cute and you just want to quickly pull your phone out and take a picture or take a video. So that's why these 2 phones have never really worked for me, because that feature is just really important to me. Which leads me to the final device here, and this is the iPhone 6s. This is a phone that I've been using now for several days. I've been going back and forth between these 2, and it's interesting. Actually, I have my iPhone 13 here, and it's dead. It's been dead for, I think, almost a week now, which is really cool, which means I haven't used this phone in like a week, which is good. I'm proud of myself for that, and not for some dumb video. I mean, I'm recording some of these, but it's not like it really matters. I'm just choosing to get away from that phone, and that's really fun because you feel successful when you accomplish a goal. The iPhone 6s does everything I need a smartphone to do, and it does it as poorly as I need a smartphone to do it. The biggest feature with this phone for me is the photos and iMessage. Everything else about this phone just isn't really that good. The battery life is terrible. It is literally the worst thing ever. I was using it last night and it was going down a percentage or two every 10 or 15 seconds. It was ridiculous. Percentage. All right, it's at 41. But it's got a pretty decent front-facing and rear-facing camera. Not that I use the front-facing camera all that much, but the rear-facing camera is really good, especially if it's bright and you just need to capture a little moment, a little photo. And this phone is going to be good enough to capture little moments, little photos of your family in any situation, basically. Is it going to look as nice as the iPhone 13 Pro or the iPhone 14 Pro? No, but that's fine. It's okay. This is like a 7-8-year-old device, and that's okay. Responsiveness of this phone is interesting. It's not very responsive. Using Safari kind of sucks. You can get by with it if you have to search something, but it takes a while. It really does. It takes its time. It chugs. Sometimes you have to close out of Safari, go back into Safari, research it, and then that'll make it work. And I think that that's good. It's intentionally hard to use, and I think that's sort of the whole point of buying this device. Also, it's like $40. It's really cheap to buy an iPhone 6, iPhone 6s in 2023. Obviously, it's a really old device, but it's really cheap. And 3D Touch is amazing. I love 3D Touch. It's not something I really ever use, but when I do use it, it's like, I love 3D Touch and I miss 3D Touch. I find myself not drawn towards using this phone almost at all. Same thing with this phone and this phone. I never felt the urge to pull out this phone and look at anything, which is good because this is a smartphone. So this really just highlights, this checks all the boxes for me. And it's different because I don't know exactly what you want, but for me, what I want is I want to be able to text message my friends on a group message. I want to be able to send pictures. I want to be able to send videos, and I want to be able to take pictures and take videos. I can't do almost any of those things on these devices, which is why an older smartphone is perfect for me, and that's what I've tended to lean towards. So if you're somebody that needs to send group messages, needs to send pictures, needs to send videos, I would suggest going towards one of these devices, but also give yourself some grace. I mean, if you're watching this channel and you're considering doing something like this, you're considering a dumb phone, you should take a lot of pride in the fact that, don't be prideful, but you can take some pride in the fact that you are willing to change your life and you're willing to do something completely outside of the bounds of what everybody else does. And I think that's really remarkable. So you can pat yourself on the back for that, but you can only pat yourself on the back if you actually decide to downgrade phones, because once you downgrade, your life will get immediately better. I can guarantee you. There'll be a few moments where you're a little annoyed because the phone doesn't do what you want the phone to do, because smartphones are great. That's why smartphones existed. And that's why people continue to use them, because they actually are really remarkable. You should take solace in the fact that you are actually trying to improve, and you're noticing a problem in your life that almost everybody seems to have, especially under the age of 40 and beyond. I've seen a lot of people who are older than 40 have problems using their smartphone too much. And I think that if you're somebody that is actively trying to reduce your screen time, actively trying to reduce your phone usage, don't be afraid to try some different devices. That's what I've done. I've tested. I also have a YouTube channel, so I can make videos about it. I don't make enough money to recoup all the costs, which is fine, because this is not really for me. It is for me to a point. I would probably do this without a YouTube channel. I would probably buy all this stuff too, because I think it's important. But I think it's an important thing for me to do, because I think it helps people. And I think that is a noble enough cause for me to buy these phones and test them out and see what is a good option and what is a bad option. And for me, ultimately, it comes down to having a budget smartphone. Where our society is built around having a smartphone. But if you have a smartphone that doesn't pull you into it, then that's great. Now, what a lot of people are going to argue is, they're going to say, well, you should just take your smartphone now and have better self-control. And I think that is completely wrong. That's a really bad way to look at it. I think that's a really dangerous way to look at it. I think that's a way to look at it where in 1 week, you're going to look back at your screen time usage and say, wow, literally nothing has changed. I was good on Monday, but then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I use my phone for 9 hours every single day. My argument to that is always, I really believe that smartphone usage is an addiction. I think that a lot of people are addicted to their phones. They're addicted to using these devices all the time. You wouldn't tell an alcoholic to say, hey man, I know you're really struggling with this and you drink all the time, you have a problem with it. Just leave the beer in your house. Just leave it in your house, and you got to just have self-control. What you have to do is you got to have better self-control. And I know that it's really tempting, because you're an addict and you really want to drink, but just leave it. You don't want to throw that away. That cost money. Somebody else might want to drink that when they come over to your house. So leave it in your pantry, leave it in the fridge, wherever you keep it. Just leave it there, and you'll be fine. Just have better self-control. You wouldn't say that to an alcoholic. So I'm not going to say that to somebody who I think it might not be quite as destructive, but it's very destructive using your smartphone way too much. So I wouldn't tell that to somebody. I would tell them to make a change, make a physical change. And I think buying something can make a physical change. You don't have to spend a lot of money. The most expensive phone on here is the Lite Phone 2. This is like a $300 or $350 device after shipping and taxes and everything. This phone was $30, $40, or $50, I believe. I bought it used off eBay or like new off eBay. And then obviously the iPhone 6S is $40 or $50 used off eBay. At the end of the day, if you're trying to improve your life, give yourself some grace. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't listen to comments and people telling you that what you're doing is stupid, what you're doing is annoying. If you're used to having a smartphone and you switch to a phone like this or this that now send green text messages, people are just going to have to get used to it. They can complain and moan all they want. But at the end of the day, you're trying to improve your life, and you might piss some people off. And that's okay. They will come around to it. You can explain to them why you're doing it. You shouldn't just do it intentionally, but you should explain to them why you're doing it. Say, hey, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to use my smartphone a lot less. And I think it's a problem for me. And I think it's a problem for a lot of people. And they might go, that's interesting, because maybe they think the same thing about themselves. They are just unwilling to come to that same conclusion because they are addicted to their smartphone and they're not willing to admit it. So you're in the first stage. You're trying to find the best dumb phone. I have a bunch of other videos on this channel with regards to downgrading your smartphone, why you should do it, the benefits and almost no negatives of downgrading your smartphone. So curb your smartphone usage. Make sure that you're spending time with friends and family. If you don't have either one of those, that's the cool thing about humans is we could start them ourselves. We could start groups. We could start a family. So do that, and I promise you'll live a much more fulfilling life. I know that I certainly have ever since I decided to do all of those things. I practice what I preach. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time out of your day. Now turn off this app and delete it. That's fine with me. Delete TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and Snapchat. And until your new phone comes in, try to reduce your screen time on the phone that you're using. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Peace out.